Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Drop, and this is my first impressions look on the Trae Unlimited. So we needed another Trae Young shoe, I guess. So Adidas released a shoe line, or another shoe line for Trae Young. I don't know what they were thinking, right? But is the Trae Young popular? I don't think a lot of people. I saw a good amount of Trae Young ones, so not a good amount, but I saw a couple. But the Trae Young 2, I haven't seen anybody wear the Trae Young 2, which is kind of weird. But anyways, the Trae Young 2, if you guys didn't know, it goes for 140 bucks. It's an okay performer. But the Trae Unlimited is a budget shoe. It's his budget shoe line, and it's going for 90 bucks, which is a very, very good price, right? So if you guys do want to cop, it's still available. I try to leave an affiliate link in the description box, but let's get it started off with the Tracciones. And as far as the traction goes, we have like lines, right? We have kind of like a herringbone traction pattern here in the heel with the Adidas logo, and then here in the forefoot, it's more like a curved like half circle, right? With some like dimples in it, I would say, right? But in this colorway, we have a solid black rubber outsole, and as far as the traction goes on my wood floors, it feels all right so far. You know, I just tried the jaw ones. The jaw ones feel amazing on my wood floors, right? The Trae Unlimited feels all right. You know, it has a pretty solid bite. It does seem to pick up a little bit of dust. There is dust and a little bit of hair or dog hair. So yeah, it is picking up a little bit of dust. So we'll have to see on dust performance. But as far as like just regular stop on a cleaner floor or when I wipe, it seems pretty good so far, right? And as far as the durability goes, it feels really good so far. You know, the grooves are very, very thick. Also, the rubber's hard and the grooves are deep. So it feels like it'll be very good for outdoor use. So the traction feels pretty damn good so far here in the Trae Unlimited. And now moving on to the heel to toe transition. Overall, it does feel pretty nice so far as well. Here in the heel, we have a nice rounded shape and fully exposed bounce cushion, which feels really, really nice, right? And then here in the forefoot, we have a nice rounded shape as well, and a good amount of forefoot flex. It's super duper flexible here in the forefoot, so that feels nice, but also it doesn't really bend too much in the midfoot, so torsion support feels like it's gonna be good too. So overall, heel to toe transition feels very, very nice so far. Now moving on to the cushioning setup. As you guys can see, it says bounce here, so it's just bounce cushion, right? And bounce cushion is very nice. It does bottom out pretty quickly, and also it is a high density foam, so I'm guessing the shoe is gonna be on the heavier side of things, but overall bounce is pretty nice. It's like a nice cushioning setup. I much rather prefer this over like EVA or Phylon or something like that. But yeah, it has a nice bounce back, obviously, hence the name bounce. So it has a nice little rebound back. It has a nice little compression here in the heel as well. In the forefoot, it gets a little bit dead, but one thing that I really like, however, in the Trae Unlimited, which Adidas never really does, is the insole. The insole and also the stroll board. Okay, so the insole, if you guys didn't know, they give us really crappy insoles, like super duper thin, like paper stock insoles. But in the Trae Unlimited, it's more like it's actually quite foamy. It feels a little bit softer than like a regular Ortholite insole, which does feel nice. And then the stroll board isn't super stiff. It's not super duper glued down either. It looks like a regular stroll board though when you're looking at it, but like when you press it with your finger, there's a good amount of compression. It's actually kind of soft. So like step in comfort, and the underfoot cushioning right now feels really, really good. And the court feel feels all right so far. I would say it's like normal. So here in the forefoot, it feels normal, and then in the heel, it does get a little bit higher up off the ground, so there is a good offset. So the cushioning setup I'm liking so far here in the Trae Unlimited, and of course here in the Trae Young 2, the cushioning was really nice as well with the boost and light strike setup. So there's the cushioning setup there. Moving on to the material, so we have, it's just like a mesh material, right? And it looks and feels kind of cheap, but it feels really nice on foot, right? So I really love the design of the 3 stripes. So it's super thin as far as the overall material goes here in the toe box. Really, really thin. It conforms to your foot extremely well. It's minimal, all the good stuff, but also it feels really supportive just because, like I said, this 3-stripe design, it's like an underlaying material, right? Underneath this like open mesh. And it actually reinforces this material a good amount and feels really supportive, right? So it kind of like goes up around your toe box like this, like on top of your toes for extra support, which feels great. And if you guys didn't notice, it's a very similar or the exact same design as the Trae Young 2, which that's pretty cool, right? Also here in the midfoot, the material stays extremely thin. right? And they're using like synthetic leather materials, like super duper cheap feeling. But I do really like the tongue. The tongue feels really plush. You know, it's like a very nice foam. It's not super duper thick, but it just has like a really good plushness to it. And it feels kind of like almost like a memory foam, right? So that feels really nice and plush and very comfortable on top of your foot. And then here in the ankle area, there is a good amount of padding as well. So it feels very nice and cozy in the back of the shoe. So yeah, it's not the most minimal feeling shoe, right? But it feels very nice and cozy, which I do like. And also, I guess like in the forefoot, it does feel very minimal, right? So overall, I do like the material on foot. However, it is like on the cheaper side of things. It makes sense, it's a $9 shoe, right? All right, moving on to the fit. I went true to size and it fits me pretty well. There is a little bit of length, but it's not too bad, right? And also here in the toe box, it's not super snug. I would say it's like a normal fit here in the toe box. Not super snug, not super roomy or anything like that. I can curl my toes up a little bit. So for me personally, I like to have a very snug fit in my ball shoes, right? So that does suck a little bit. And I also feel like this mesh material, even though there is reinforcement from this like 3 stripes, I still feel like it'll probably loosen up a little bit once I break it in and play in it. So we'll have to see on that, but the fit for me overall is pretty good. It's all right, right? If you have a wide foot or you have a chonky foot, I would suggest going up maybe a half a size, but I feel like you should be fine. Also, like for the width, it's not super narrow or anything. I would say it's like around normal width too. So there is the fit there. As far as the support and lockdown goes, I feel like it's gonna be pretty good, right? So here in the forefoot, we do have this fuse material, and this fuse material is like it's glued down. Like it's a pretty stiff glue, so I feel like that does give a good amount of support to the lateral side here in the forefoot. Here in the midfoot, we have the foam coming up, acting as a sidewall, and also we have this like synthetic leather piece coming up too. And then here in the heel, we have the foam coming up, and there is a very, very stiff internal TPU heel calendar, feels like. So a lateral containment, I feel like it should be good to go. And also lateral stability, Adidas always does this very well. They give us very, very wide bases. As you guys can see, it protrudes out like crazy as far as the foam goes. So lateral stability feels like it's gonna be good too. And it doesn't really feel like there's any type of heel slippage or anything like that either. So support and lockdown feels very good so far. And now moving on to the weight of the shoe. As far as the weight goes, it feels kind of heavy. I'm guessing like 13, 14 ounces. That's not super heavy, but it is on the heavier side of things. Let's check. Yeah, 13.83 ounces. Let's check the other shoe. 13.9 ounces, so around 14 ounces. The average weight of my shoes is around 12.5 ounces, so that definitely is on the heavier side of things. It does feel a little heavy, and also it does feel a little bulky just because there is a good amount of foam, which I actually kind of like, but we'll have to see. I really have to play in it first, you know, because I'd rather have like a more minimal feeling shoe. I like a lightweight, more minimal feeling shoe in my personal preference. I'm sure there are people that don't really care about that and they just like a really cozy fit. But for me, it does feel a little bit more like on the bulkier side of things. So we'll have to see on that. But will this shoe be responsive? We'll also have to see on that. The traction is feeling pretty good so far. The bounce cushion also feels responsive and all that. So it's feeling pretty nice on foot so far. And now moving on to the aesthetics. No. Yeah, no, I don't know, guys. This is one of the ugliest looking shoes I feel like Adidas has to offer. Especially like the Trae Young 2 looks pretty good. You know what I mean? It looks pretty damn good. But the Trae Unlimited, I don't know, it just looks super cheap and it just doesn't look good in my personal opinion. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, the Trae Unlimited, it's cheap. It doesn't look good, but it's feeling pretty good on foot so far, although there are some things I don't like the fit is a little bit roomy, but it's not terrible, and also it does feel a little heavy and a little bit bulky to me personally right now. So, but that's not a huge deal. So of course I'm gonna need to play in it, and performance review will be coming soon. But my first impressions of the Trae Unlimited is looking pretty damn good so far, especially for 90 bucks. But anyways, that concludes my first impressions look on Trae Young's budget shoe from Adidas, his brand new budget shoe. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll try to leave an affiliate link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.